All right, I want to get into the farm, but before that, in 2016, when you were working like a 14 light little operation,
Yes.
how gray was that market? Like, was
Complete,
this legal weed? Was
no,
this you selling the medical? Like, what's going
no.
on?
So it was completely gray, bro. So I was growing. My boys had given me letters, saying that I was providing, product for patients at the shops. So that's pretty much what was happening. But there was no licensing. You know what I mean? I didn't have a license to grow. It was more or less one of those recommendation things that you get from the doctor. You go and you pay $90 and he gives you a recommendation and you can be a caregiver. So I was really just doing that. And I would ride around in my car, bro, with packs of weed and this letter, from the doctor saying that, I had a condition and that I was a caregiver for these patients at these co-ops. You know what I'm
And were you
saying?
making decent money? Like,
Like,
how was business?
yeah, business was great. Business was great. It wasn't like the Canada business. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good enough for me to keep the lights on, pay all the lights at the grow, and live in Hollywood in my own spot and have a couple cars and shit like that.
Okay. So then 2018, shit got real across the state, really.
Correct.
And they really started to buckle down on this very gray area, right? And some people didn't cross over properly. I know a
No.
lot of people that were like, nah, I've been doing this for years. They say this every year. It's all bullshit.
Yep.
And it didn't work out for them. So talk to me about this crossover. Where were you? Why were you prescient enough to like realize that you kind of had to change your methodology here?
So basically, what happened was in 2018, mind you, I had already been moving, the work to my boys' shops, right? And so all of my boys, had kind of when I think it's what Prop 64 when it did go and it became rec here in LA. All of the homies kind of wanted to transition, right? We're kind of tired of looking over our shoulders, kind of tired of, always wondering if a cop or, the fire department is going to come kick down your door and you're going to lose your investment or whatever. So everyone kind of started taking it serious. So when I found out about that social equity license, I didn't think that I would be able to participate because of my felony. I had already been convicted. So I'm like, oh, I'm out. So once the social equity license got brought to my attention, I went down to City Hall and sat in on a couple sessions when they were going to be talking about it. And sure enough, it was real. So I said, okay, if this is real, let me at least try, to get a license. Because then if I get a license, I'm already connected with these shops anyway. You know what I'm saying? So now if I just get a legal license, now I can kind of create a family business. I can try to create some generational wealth. My brain kind of had started ticking that way. Because before then, my brother, people like that, they wouldn't really mess with me. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, bro, you're just a wild card. Like, you don't care. Like, you don't care if they come knocking on your door, you go to jail. You got, these big cojones, right? So I'm like, if I can do this right, and I can set something up to where I can hire, my brother, my cousin, what I'm saying? I can actually do something. I can see my name on a jar. That would be awesome. So I just started going through the process, not thinking that it would ever come to me. Right. I knew that I think I had found out they were going to give like 100 licenses or 200 licenses. 100 of them were going to go to social equity applicants. Bro, there's like what, 10 million, 14 million people in California. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how many in Los Angeles, but I was like, what are the odds like that I would get one? But whatever. If you can't win if you're not in the game, right? So we filled out all the paperwork, turned the paperwork in, and lo and behold, we got an email saying that you got the license.
All right, all right. I want to break this down. I want to understand because I got people in the crowd here that want to take that chance. They want to take that shot you just did. So I want to understand this a bit more.
Yes.
Who is we? Where does your team come from? Like,
Okay.
how did you get people to work with you? And like, tell me some of the things you guys had to figure out for your application.
For sure. So we is me, my little brother, Charles Ball, who's the CFO of the company, my COO, Ebony Anderson, right? And how it happened was I went down to the city to try to apply for the licensing and all of that stuff. And I was trying to go down when we moved into our building, I went down there to try to pull a permit to get some power. Right. I needed to put some power into my new spot. And I was going to try to pull a permit. This is where I had planned on hanging this license. So I went down there and I'd never been down to the city before and did any of this. Right. So me and my brother sat in there for 4 hours, bro, We literally were down at the city planning department for 4 hours chasing our tails around, picking numbers, waiting an hour, talking to this person. Oh, you're in the wrong line. You need to go talk to them over there. Pick another number, wait another hour and a half. Oh, you need to go talk to this person over there, to where we literally got nothing done that day. So when I left out of frustration, I called my GC who had built my illegal grow, right? I called my general contractor who had built that for me. And I said, hey, I just was down here at the city for 4 hours trying to pull a permit for power. How do you do that? And he goes, what are you doing? And I go, well, I'm in the process of getting this license and I need to pull I need to pull a permit for power. He said, you need to call this woman named Ebony, right? So he linked me with Ebony. He had worked with Ebony building. She worked for the city. She was an urban planner for the city of Los Angeles. He was working with her when he would build hospitals and, do all these construction things. So I called Ebony and just told Ebony, I told her exactly who I was. I said, hey, listen, I'm a cannabis guy. I'm a grower. I'm a street guy. I'm trying to do something legal. Will you help me? And how much will it cost you to help me? And I just broke down my story. And I don't know, I guess I tugged on her heartstrings or whatever, because she was like, you know what? No one's ever called me and just laid it out for me like that. She was like, so what I'm going to do is let's have a meeting and I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to walk you how you go for permits. I'm going to walk you how you get with an engineer. I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need to do for this thing to be legal. And that's how that happened.
All right. So you got to have the construction understanding. You got to have the city planning understanding to try to get these things going. You got to have relationships. You got to tell your story,
bro.
Build followers.
So it's so much that, like, my brother graduated from college as well. My brother comes from corporate America, so he's a square. That's why he's in charge of the money, right? He protects me from my traditional way of thinking, right? Ebony is in charge of compliance and operations. She comes from that. Eventually Ebony stopped working with the city and came in and signed on with Ball Family Farms full time. And I gave her equity in the company to come do that, And so we just kind of, with my knowledge of the cannabis industry and being, from that world, and my brother being from, corporate America, and Ebony being from, compliance and all of those things, we kind of formed Voltron. We kind of have this great little family because we kind of we lean on each other for certain things, and we kind of let each other do each other's job without stepping into somebody's lane. But before then, without her and without my brother, there'd be no way I'd be sitting here today, because she understood the verbiage from the city. My brother understood, money, numbers, paying this person. Let's do this. Let's get them on 30 days. These are all things that I never learned in the trap. In the trap, it's very easy. I just go rogue. We guerrilla style everything, right? Let's just put this up, get the weed, sell it, get my money, don't pay no taxes. This is how it is. So, you definitely got to have, for people who are out there who are listening, you definitely need to go get yourself a team and go get some people who, know what's going on when it comes to these licenses, when it comes to the city, when it comes to the ordinance, when it comes to contractors, architects, building permits, HVAC, everything. It's a whole lot that goes into doing this the right way.
So it's just the three of you guys that ended up writing like the actual application?
Yes.
So you guys figured out in advance, like, how you're going to stay compliant with the systems and, all of your real estate stuff. How did you figure out what to write in the application?
Ebony did that. Ebony figured out all of that stuff, right? Because when I read the information, I didn't even understand the verbiage. I didn't even understand the language that was in it, and I'm a Berkeley graduate, so I'm a man who can read and write, but the way that the way that it read and the way that it was set up, bro, it was almost like they didn't want you to figure this out. There was, I make the parallel all the time. When I got my football scholarship, right? If they had just admitted me to school and not given me a tutor, financial aid, money for my books, if I didn't have access to all these things to help me be successful and get onboarded into school, I would have flunked out. So with the social equity program and this licensing and stuff, it's like they gave us the license, but they gave no financial aid. They gave no mentorship, no tutelage, no nothing. It was just like, here you go. If you can do it, great. If you can't, well, at least we gave you the opportunity. And I kind of figured that out. Once I started reading over that stuff, I was like, this is above me. We're going to have to go get somebody who understands this. And Ebony did.
I like that analogy because we have not seen a social equity program work to date. And I almost wonder if sometimes we are overcomplicating it by calling it this thing, social equity, this large, expansive way to get people in. But that analogy, I think, is just so much easier. Look, we want people to succeed at this, right? So we're giving them the tools they need to be successful, to get to the finish line, to graduate college, or to have a thriving business. I love the analogy.
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
hugely important.
Talk to me about the money. How did you fund the business? Like, how much did it cost? Did it come from your, like, I know people are, they're looking at their bank accounts like, how am I going to get this shit started?
I would keep it 100. I had the money in my shoe boxes from saving up my money over the years, some hustling and trapping. And that's where the money came from. I remember when it was all cash, bro. It was all cash. I remember when I had to take Ebony, we had to go down and pay for the licensing fees. It was $36,000. And I showed up with a backpack of $36,000 in 20s. And she looked at me and was like, what is this? And I'm like, what else is there? This is all I have. This is who I am, right? So, the licensing fees were hella expensive. And then to build it out, it cost us about 1.5 to get Ball Family Farms up and going the correct way. And that all came from me.
Is this indoor?
Yeah.
And like, it's 100,000 square feet of canopy?
So no, so it's the building, the footprint is 100,000 square feet. We're only occupying 20,000 of the 100,000. So we're going in phases, right? So it took me 1.5 to build out 20,000 square feet. So we got 300 lights, 240 bloom and 60 veg.
Wow. And I know New York real estate ain't cheap.
No, it isn't.
Our people out there, just think about that. I'm sure you guys already got it on the horizon. All right, so you had cash. What about when you finally got plants in the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you sell it? I know that sounds trivial.
Yeah, no.
At the beginning, weed sold itself. But now all of a sudden you're competing with a whole bunch of other people.
Correct.
Right? The brand matters, sales channels matter.
100%.
How'd you sell these first couple pounds?
Yeah. So what happened was, we lit up one room at a time. So we have 8 rooms of 30 lights. All right. We built one room and harvested that one room because we didn't have enough to do the entire thing at one time. We had to get money, sell it over here, then reinvest back into the company, so we had to do that a couple of times. But basically what happened was once it went rec, right? And then the testing came out, like everything had to be tested and had to pass testing in the labs. A lot of brands fell off because they couldn't pass testing. So then the dispensaries had a shortage of product at the time that I was harvesting, right? So for me, it was pretty simple. I just went to the same guys that I had been selling to, 2 years prior, and was like, now I'm completely legit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm passing testing, I'm compliant. They're like, perfect, because we ain't got no weed because nobody can pass testing. You know what I'm saying? So it just started happening like that. And then by the grace of God, bro, we found our Daniel LaRusso strain. My partner Ashton came in and brought in the Daniel LaRusso genetics. And once that hit, bro, it was just over. Like we couldn't grow enough of it. We still can't to this day. I'm expanding right now. We just expanded into another 20,000 square feet out of the 100. So now we'll be in 40. But yeah, man, that's pretty much how it happened for me.
Well, congrats. Hope to see it grow even more, of course. All right, I want to flip it a little bit. I want to understand a little bit about what are the differences in your day job today and what you do as a business versus the 2 other businesses that you had back in 2016 and then the one before 2010. Like, what's different about what you do?
Everything. So, back then, my day would consist of getting up, going to the grow, being there when we harvest, grabbing the weed, already having my clients set up for when the weed came down, taking them, taking them the product, getting my money. It was all done in a matter of 48 hours, and then I was waiting, another 4 to 5 weeks until the next harvest came down. Now, and for the most part, my month was done. I was chilling. I was going out, hanging out, buying clothes, just, doing my thing. Now, with a real live company, there's so much that's happening in the space on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Now I have, over 30 employees, that every day something's happening with one of them, so I'm talking to HR, I'm talking about this. I am, we're constantly trying to innovate, at the facility and stay compliant, and with the compliance and everything, it's a moving target. All these rules and regulations change on the regular, because the city and the state are still trying to figure this whole thing out. So we have to, really stay up to date with our compliance and regulation stuff. With packaging, we're accounting for loss with packaging when it goes over to distro. There's just so many moving parts, paying taxes, we just got a bank account a couple weeks ago, right? But this whole time we've been a cash business. So we have to literally, go get cash, count the cash, hide the cash somewhere, make sure we're switching who's carrying the cash. I mean, it's a whole different ball game now, and I've never been a CEO before, so I'm still learning every single day. People may think that I got it all figured out because the brand looks good and, I'm at the forefront of social equity and everything, but I'm learning every single day, how to lead my team correctly, how to keep the success going of the company, how to, stay authentic, how to keep innovating. It's an everyday, job now. And I love it, but I love it though.